What's up and welcome to FPL Today. I'm your host JNO, welcome to the channel and welcome to what we learned for Game Week 8, looking back at Game Week 7, picking out the great performances and trying to figure out who will continue scoring points in the Fantasy Premier League. But before we get into this episode, it's brought to you today by Fantasy Football Magazine. If you want a Fantasy Football Magazine delivered to your door every month, then click the link in the description down below, subscribe to the magazine and get more tips from more experts on the game. So on with today's video, and today we're not actually starting with Manchester City for once. They did put a very good performance in and managed to beat Chelsea 1-0, and they still look a really threatening side, and I'd still suggest that you look at bringing in some Manchester City players. The one that stood out is Kevin De Bruyne, so shout out to him, the player I've dropped just before he started regularly scoring points. However, the game we're starting off with is Man United versus Crystal Palace. Man United managing to pick up a 4-0 victory over Crystal Palace. However, the points weren't shared around the usual suspects. Lukaku did actually get a goal, and Man United, like usual, managed to score 4 goals past a Crystal Palace team that look almost dead and buried already. However, the players that really stood out weren't the players that most Fantasy Premier League managers had. This just goes to show how many dangerous options there are in this Man United side, and one of those players is Marcus Rashford. If he can nail down a starting berth, he could be a big plus for FPL managers. He's played 60 minutes or more in the last 4 games, so this is worth keeping an eye on, but he looks hungry and is always thinking about getting the ball forward and creating or scoring chances. Coming in at 7.6 million, he got 9 points from the game against Crystal Palace with 2 assists and 1 bonus point. He had a chance every 36 minutes and he had a chance created every 18 minutes. So Rashford is looking very, very good. He's likely to be ignored purely because of the likes of Lukaku, who had 2 easy chances and managed to mess one of them up. I know it does seem like I've got some sort of vendetta against Lukaku. However, I just don't think he's as lethal as some other strikers. He's just in a side that creating him so many chances. He's bound to score one of them during a game, and how he scores them doesn't really matter in Fantasy Premier League anyway. But Marcus Rashford could be a huge differential if he does hit a big bit of form at 7.6 million. The other players that stood out in this fixture, Juan Mata is a well-known commodity in FPL. If he is played in the right sort of role, he can be a big point scorer, and now at 7 million, if he can get any sort of form, he could be an absolute steal. He managed to get 10 points from this game with 1 goal and 2 bonus points. He had a chance every 77 minutes, which means he was likely taken off. I might have missed that in the game. And he had a minute per chance creation rate at 25.7 minutes. So he looks more likely to be a continuous point scorer compared to the other player I'm going to bring up. Fellaini at 4.9 million, he managed to get 16 points. So if you had him this game week, you were absolutely laughing. He scored 2 goals and got 3 bonus points from the game, having a chance every 45 minutes. However, he only had 2 chances. He did manage to put both away, but that doesn't mean necessarily he's going to continuously get those chances and score us Fantasy Premier League points. Moving on to the other fixture with 4 goals in it, and it was Huddersfield versus Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspurs definitely on form at the moment, especially away from home, and they have some very, very good options in their side at the moment. If we even look past the 3 players I'm going to focus on today, they also have the likes of Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, Heung-min Son, if he actually gets an extended period of game time. But the players we're looking at, of course, one of them is Harry Kane, who managed to get 2 goals. He's now 12.7 million, having risen from the 12.4 he'd dropped to. He got 13 points because he got 3 bonus points and he had a chance every 17.4 minutes. To me, I still think Harry Kane is one of the best strikers in the league. To me, he's slightly better than Lukaku, which is why I've got him instead of Lukaku. And then Aguero is probably the only one I've put on par with him, purely because of longevity of performances. But Harry Kane is a known commodity, so we won't focus too much time on him. However, he is a man that can make a goal from absolutely anything. But the other players to look at are Ben Davies, who seems to get forward a lot and is creating chances, and Kieran Trippier, who has some great underlying stats and seems very keen to whip the ball in, which Harry Kane may enjoy a lot. Ben Davies is a player I've been talking about for a while now, saying he's one you should consider bringing in. There is the whole Danny Rose situation to consider, and the fact that he even got dropped for Heung-min Son in the previous game week. However, this game week he got 16 points with 1 goal, 1 assist and a clean sheet and 1 bonus point. His minute per chance was at 45, but his minute per chance created was also at 45 minutes. So he had 2 attempts on goal and 2 chances created. And then we got Kieran Trippier at 5.4 million, slightly cheaper option. He got 14 points from 2 assists and 2 bonus points. He didn't have any chances himself, however he did create a chance every 27.3 minutes. So the wing backs at Spurs are looking very, very good. Of course, Trippier is battling with Aurier at the moment, so Davies looks the most nailed on out of those wing backs. However, just to remind you all, he didn't start in the previous game week and was swapped out for Heung-min Son. So even with Danny Rose with an injury and the uncertainty of his contract, the fullbacks at Spurs are by no means nailed on. The next game we're looking at is a 4-goal thriller as well, and it's West Brom versus Watford. There wasn't actually many games that scored more than 3 goals this game week, which is unfortunate of course, but it did mean if you had the right players, you got a lot of points compared to some people who may have struggled if they didn't have those players involved. In the West Brom Watford game, there were 2 players that really stood out, both from the Watford side of things, and it was Decore at 5.3 million, who managed to get 10 points from 1 goal, 3 bonus points, but that was his only chance, so there's not great underlying stats there. However, the other player that looks really good in this game was Richarlison at 6.1 million. His underlying stats were slightly better. He got 10 points from 1 goal and 1 assist. He had a chance every 12.9 minutes and he created a chance every 45 minutes. So his underlying stats looked very, very promising. West Brom also reminded everyone that their defence can score points, with Johnny Evans getting on the score sheet. But Decore and Richarlison are the players that stand out, and I'd suggest looking at, as well as Holebas, who has that great delivery into the box for the Watford players to get their heads onto. And then 2 other performers from 2 other games. We have Stephen Ward from the 1-0 win by Burnley against Everton. He comes in at 4.6 million, having just risen in price. He managed to get 12 points in his game with 1 assist, and he got a clean sheet with 3 bonus points, and he created a chance each half. Stephen Ward has played 90 minutes in all 7 games Burnley have played this season and has returned goals, assists, bonus points or clean sheets in 4 of the 7 games he's been in. So he's definitely looking a viable option as a cheap defender to have in your side, no matter who Burnley's opposition is. And then we have Nacho Monreal at 5.4 million, a slightly cheaper way into the Arsenal defence. He managed to get 15 points after scoring 1 goal, getting a clean sheet and getting 3 bonus points. He only had that 1 chance in the game, however, but he is a cheap way into an Arsenal defence that could be very, very solid this season. Anyway guys, thank you so much for joining me today for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please hit that like button, it helps me out immensely. Also, I've got the week off, so I will try and go live. I feel like I keep saying I will try, and then very rarely do I get on. So apologies about that. But the support has been amazing, so if you are new around here and you want FPL content in your subscription box, consider subscribing to the channel. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game. Really need a haircut.